Well, there's a bunch of stuff that could be happening.
Maybe if the pressure is low with that, maybe that could be triggering that to go down to 90.
Alright, so she's steadily dropping, which alright, so I'm going to send you this video so that you can sell the wall company in case it doesn't reproduce itself. So main valve of the house is off, and turned off the pump motor switch, and we are slowly backing down. And there is nothing tied in before that, as best I can tell. So the other end of that is that it's not producing. So can you get you flip that switch back on for me, please? Still off. This is the second time in 2 weeks that I've seen this.
Really?
And it's the third time in my career that I've seen it. The other one was 10 years ago. I was actually thinking about trying to make a video for the last customer. I'm on a Facebook group.
Oh, really?
Irrigation guys, and it's like one of those problems that it's impossible to figure out what the hell's going on, and then but you'll probably never see it anyway.
Got you.
So basically, one of two things is happening here. Either you have a leak in the well line out there. It could be in the well, the actual well casing, in which case you'd never see it. It could be between here and the house, in which case you would have noticed a wet spot by now. That's problem one. More likely than not, it is the check valve at the pump that is dislodged, and it's choking off the flow into the tanks. The motor's in the ground, and right on top of that is basically like a check valve, kind of like this, that water can go through one way but not down the other. So when the pump kicks on, this is half full of air here, so basically there's a bladder in the bottom, and since you don't want to have the pump turn on every time you flip on a sink, there's a store. You can compress air, but you can't compress water. So they basically have a little bladder in here, so that when you flip the pump on, it fills this up, compresses the air, and then turns the pump off. And then the check valve down there in the ground doesn't allow the water to go from here back into the ground again. So it's like putting your finger at the bottom of a straw, like holding in water. So yours is not doing that. Or the pipe has got a leak in it and is doing the same thing. But either way, there's no way that this water should be heading back into the ground or heading back out of this tank that way, and it is.
So who would be responsible for that? Would that be like the well company?
Well, I mean, you're responsible for it since you own the well, but your well company's going to have to come out and figure out where your issue lies. Let's see where we're at. 70. Yes, when I was running 12 gallons per minute out there, it was hanging out right around 15 psi, which this is probably a horse and a half, judging by the tank size on the well report. Maybe a horse.
I think it's a 3.5. Am I saying right?
No, horse and a half. Three quarter is kind of like your standard well around here. Horse.
I have the upgraded one.
Okay, so it's either a horse or a horse and a half.
Okay.
So the reason I'm taking the video is because the problem, especially on the last guy, because it's literally a physical like bobber that kind of sits in there as a check valve, and it's kind of a bigger space. It literally, you know, when I went to his house and came across the same issue, it was shutting off the flow. Well, in this case, going this way, it was basically dislodged and covering up the hole, which was not allowing the pump to even get water to the tank, which is what yours is doing. But then it reset itself and kind of fell back into the right position when I went to go show him. So of course, unfortunately, I didn't take a video of that. Yours seems to be. Can't tell if yours is still going back down or not. It seems to be sealed back up. So it's definitely not a leak in the line, because leaks don't seal themselves back up. So chances are it was that check valve acting up, and it has since fallen back into position. So the problem is it's going to be an intermittent problem where they can come out here and try and test it 10 different ways, and it's not going to reproduce the problem. So what was that, 8?
So you think it's the valve?
It's the check valve. It's in the ground, and the only way to fix it is to pull the pump out of the ground. So I just turned this sprinkler back on, zone 8. It's probably using somewhere around 11-12 gallons per minute. So we'll see what happens when it kicks the pump back on. The problem is it seems to be an issue that only happens when it's using a lot of large volume of water.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is the system.
Gotcha.
All right, so it's catching back up.
So it's catching back up?
Yeah. Let's see. All right. So it seems to have resolved itself, but if you end up having that issue again, I'm going to send this to you.